Yes, Lord, man. It's episode 2 of Who That Is. You hear me? So, let's get it started. I bet, I'd be willing to bet, that most of y'all don't know who this is. You feel me? But he put in some time, he put in some work. We're talking about Claude Johnson and the Black Fives today. The Black Fives. A large amount of people don't know who these people are or what that even means. But one Claude Johnson, after 20 years in corporate America, decided we need to know this. This is information that needs to be known. This is information that needs to be spread. He's took his life's work of just doing research, just interviewing, just diving deep into archives, just trying to figure out the origins of black people history in sports, mainly basketball. This is a story of just giving light to a group of people that showed resilience, innovation in a time where there was no opportunity. They created the opportunity. They just had the idea of where life was shifting at the time. The Black Fives. We're gonna dive into the history, the rich history of black people in basketball. You feel me? But we're gonna start off with the founder, man. Claude Johnson, the founder of the Black Fives Foundation. It's an organization created to commemorate the history of African Americans, just progression through basketball sports as the sport was being created. You feel me? So we're just gonna start with the history of the sport. Easy enough. Basketball was created and invented in 1891, and teams were originally called the Fives to talk about the starting five of the team. You know, just to give them a description of who they are. But obviously, America was segregated during the time, so black people didn't have the opportunity to be playing on the same teams as their white counterparts. And they created their own. They created their own league. It was never official like the Negro Leagues of baseball, but it was so well organized. They had a system of a nationwide system that worked. They made a whole circuit so everybody got an opportunity to play, opportunity to just be a part of this new thing that was growing in America at the time. The Black Fives, that is they've been coined, you know, the nationwide name. Oof. But just like I said, it was segregated. It was during the time in the 1900s, you feel me? Early. So they were also called Negro Cagers and Colored Queens. You feel me? Oof. But once the sport was introduced to African Americans in 1904 on a nationwide scale, it was over with. Before the merger of the NBL and the NBA, the NBL in 1940 and the NBA in 1950s, they created their own league. Like I said, they created their own league, their own circuit to be able to travel, and it spread so fast and so quickly during the time that people from the South, Africa, all over the Caribbean, all over the place came to be a part of this growing thing. But because there was no opportunity early on, they didn't have venues or even places to play. So it took the community outreach from the colored YMCA businesses, the colored newspapers, churches, athletic and social clubs. They all sponsored this growing thing for us and by us at the end of the day. A black owned system by black teams, black owners, just everything that you could think of and imagine that was flourishing at the time during a time of lynchings, goddamn killings, the precursors of civil rights. Just so much was going on during this time. The Great Depression, so much was going on during this time. It was so rich in the cultural shift at the end of the day, because it also coincided with the Harlem Renaissance and other things of that nature during the time. So in the early 1900s, when the phonograph emerged and music, the Harlem Renaissance and everything, jazz, blues started to sweep the nation and everybody caught on, they just had to build dance halls, they had to build ballrooms, and just venues because the new entertainment level of everything was just exploded during this time. So they had to build, like I said, ballrooms and things of that nature. So during the time, black people were flourishing in basketball. They had to create their own system in the it merged with the Harlem Renaissance, the early on, the first Great Migration, things of that nature. It created an explosion in in black newspapers and things of that nature. It coined it. You feel me? It became bigger than basketball after a point because it became basketball, and dance. This was the precursor of what we know today in music and basketball just being locked in. Just it's the precursor to that. So you just gotta thank them, and they didn't even realize what they were doing at the time because all of this was happening so fast during this time, and so much was going on at the time. Yeah, people had an idea and realized like how this was gonna be, but they didn't realize the cultural impact it would really have. So a lot of the places where it started in New York, Washington, Pittsburgh, Chicago, a lot of the black urban areas where during the Great Migration, people moving from the South, it became crazy. They met up, they all created this thing for each other and just got together to communicate, commune with each other and just build the community. It was a great time, even though during the time it wasn't too great. This boom during this time was so monumental that their white counterparts couldn't deny him. Yeah, there was many successful teams during this time, but one that stood above the rest was the New York Renaissance, aka the Harlem Rens. They were the most successful team during this time. Really during this century, not including, I guess you would say, their white counterparts, but even them. During 1923 to 1948, before the merger, the Rens won 2,588 out of 3,117 games. That is an 83 win percentage. If you don't know how to do your math, you're a foolish person. They were stepping on everything that came in their way. And they were so great that they were pushing the barriers of the Harlem Renaissance. They were doing their thing with that. The Harlem Globetrotters were doing their thing at the time. They smashed the color barrier to the point where it's like, yeah, we had to bring them in. They have so much talent going on that it's not being official. Yeah, it's being documented, but it's not official in a sense that they had to merge with them. And they paved the way for civil rights because they were doing so many great things at the time that it became undeniable. Their talent, their efforts, them being able to create a system and be this innovative with people telling them, nah, we don't want you around here. You can't play here. You can't do these things. That they were able to create something for the future and build something and really show that at the end of the day, black people be taking over sports whenever they get in there. So black people running basketball right now, if you ain't know. So, man, it was just a crazy time during the 1920s. Yeah, it was a lot. The Great Depression, Prohibition, just a lot of things going on in America. It was a golden time for America, whether you can consider it the darkest time, but also it was a very rich time in the country for black people. Even though we didn't have opportunity, there were so many created opportunities from us, by us, to stick together with us, so we didn't feel excluded, so we didn't feel like we didn't have our thing. Because once we got our hands onto music, onto basketball, onto anything else at that time, everybody wanted a part of it. So nah, we need that. Come on, be a part of us. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't want it to they just seen what was coming. So you gotta know the history of where things start to really gain a true understanding of where things are at. Music and rappers have been so tied in basketball and sports cultures that you didn't even realize that sports, basketball, and music really in the black community went hand in hand at this time and created something that people didn't know was going to sweep the country like it did. So be thankful for the people and the pioneers and the things that they have done and endured for us to be able to be and do things so freely, to even have basketball as a career, to have basketball and really make a real profit off of it, and be able to do these things. So That's another one in the books, man. Learn your history, man. It is very rich and very interesting when you get to deep dive and really know who did what, why they did these things, and how they got these things done. So I just want to give a big thanks to Claude Johnson. Maybe I can meet him one day, because you be doing your thing, man. You doing your thing with this foundation, this nonprofit. I would definitely love to chop it up with you, hopefully one day, because I plan on starting my own someday and doing things to help the community. So if you see this, tap in with me, man. But drop a comment, like, share, subscribe. We got a lot more coming. Got something big next. Next episode gonna be a nice one. It's near and dear to my heart. I love it. So, yes, Lord! Another episode of Who This in the Books, you feel me? We grinding all the rest of the year, man. Stop playing with me. Yeah.
Well, the NBA wouldn't exist, right? Because the popularity of basketball wouldn't have grown, which then prepped really the engine for when the NBA finally was formed in 1949, because they had to have people who already were willing to come see that level of talent. And that helped make basketball better.